Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Cyber Training 365. I'm joined with Timber Wolf. He's our lead instructors in our Cyber Training 365 Academy. Today, actually, we're going to go over how to crack a WEP, a web password for your wireless device, basically. Timber is going to first explain you the setup, what exactly is needed to securely do it. You don't want to go and try it on your neighbors, just to let you know. You have to ethically do it, and there's a setup. And if you have forgotten your web key, if you're using a router which uses web as your authentication, so you got to basically use this setup. All right, Timber, all yours.
Okay, hi everyone. So what we've got is we've got a laptop. And we have the wireless router that's actually able to speak WEP. Most of them you buy today cannot speak WEP. WEP is kind of an old technology, and we're actually going to crack it. WPA and WPA2 you do not crack. You're going to have to use a rainbow table and guess the password. So you're basically going to do a lookup, a dictionary lookup. So the way we're going to do the WEP though is we can crack the keys, no matter how long they are. With WPA2 and WPA, the longer they are, the harder they are to guess, right? Mm-hmm. But this, it doesn't matter how long it is, we can crack it. So we're going to demonstrate that today, that this is why you don't want to use WEP. So you'll be hard pressed to find a router that supports WEP, but you can find them. You can find them on the shelf at Best Buy, and you can get them off of Amazon. And then we're also going to use this Alpha card. So you can see the blue light on. We're running in Cali. You can see my screen here in a second. We'll show you. I don't know if you can see the model number, but we'll publish it. I've been assured that you'll be able to see the model number. This card is good because it'll speak 150 megabits per second, so you can use it for other stuff too. It's stronger, the antenna is stronger than your laptop is typically, so you might be able to use it for multiple things. We're going to explain the difference between this and the WPA and WPA2. We may do a follow-on for the WPA2 and WPA, and then, but we want to demonstrate the WEP first. So some of the classes you're going to take, you're going to be asked these kinds of questions, and you need to be able to demonstrate this. So
mainly there is once you mention the classes, there is a class which Timber is teaching in A+, where he goes around and talks about wireless access points. And then I have a class which about penetration testing, and where there's a full course on wireless penetration testing. So this particular blog will be very useful for you when it comes down to even cracking your web. And then we'll do a follow-up for WPA and WPA2.
And if you're overseas, you're likely to have this gear because they don't recycle the gear as often as we do in America. So they don't update their technology as much, which means you don't need to buy new gear. This router will last 100 years. If the technology doesn't change, you'll keep using the same router. If you had a web key 100 years ago, you may not change it. So this will also demonstrate that if you have it, if your grandma has it, you need to go and change it because you don't want to leave that. Okay, so we also have some Thunderbolt connectors for the networking interfaces here, but all you really need is this Alpha card and the belt and a router serving up WEP that you can reach. Okay, so you ready to dive in?
Yep, let's do it.
Oh, we're also going to need a cell phone because we have to have a connection to the wireless router. Otherwise, we can't get it. So we're going to demonstrate that in a few minutes. So 3 things you need. You need 4 things. You need a laptop, router, Alpha card. To work with Cali, you need a specific version, so that's important. These are about $34, $35 on Amazon. I'll show you one with the model number. And then we're going to need anything that can connect to the wireless router using WEP.
All right.
So this is a modern cell phone. A modern cell phone will connect to WEP, but the new routers will not serve it.
All right.
Okay, let's dive in.
All right, perfect. Let's go.
Okay, so what we've got here on the screen is we've got Kali Linux running here, and we have the Alpha card here. This is the model number of the one we're using right now, and you can see that they're $34 on Amazon. They've been $34 for a long, long time. Now let's take a look at the Belkin configuration. This is their configuration screen, and what I did was I just connected to it earlier over my wireless, and it gave me this screen, right? So the information we want to know is, I previously set, as part of setting up this lab, I just set a 2.4 gigahertz key right here. So it's 42B8636F96, which you've already put in your phone.
I already put that, yeah.
So he's going to connect to it, and we need those connections so that we can kick him off or just watch him reloading data natively. We'll discuss that in a minute. But he's going to have to connect, and then we'll see him connecting in a minute. So these are the actual instructions that you're going to do for this particular router. And here's the card number, Alpha AWUS036NHA. And this is the key we're using on our router. This is the wireless key that we're going to try and crack and find. And these are the commands we're going to use. So we're going to use airmon, and then we're going to use aircrack. And all of this is part of a Kismet suite. So let's dive into Kali. So this is just basically Kali booted up. I've got it in a VM running on my OS X. It's running in Fusion 5. And so I'm just going to clear my screen. And we're just going to type in these commands down here. So the very first thing you want to do is you do airmon ng. So that kind of sets up the cards, a little bit of overhead. And then we're going to type airmon ng again. Mon 0, that's just the first monitoring interface. And then we're going to do, so we need to do start. Yeah, airmon 0 start. Oops, start airmon mon 0. There we go. So it started. And then now we're going to do arrow dump. G, and then we're going to do mon 0, our first interface, right? Because we can do more than one.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I miss that?
I think so. There's one step for WLAN.
Start WLAN 0. Okay, now we have it. And then we're going to do arrow dump ng mon 0.
There it is.
Okay, so now what we see is all of the access points that we can see in our range. And you can also see that it's WPA, CCMP. It tells you a lot of information, but the one we're looking for is WEP. If you can find a WEP one, you can crack it very quickly. But note that for the WPA2, the same steps will work. And then we have the ESSID, which is abbreviated. And we have the BSSID, which is the MAC address. So they have the ESSID and the BSSID. So when you're walking through these steps, don't mix those up. We also want to pay attention to the channel. The one we're going to be using is on channel 4. Okay?
All right.
So let's go ahead and we're going to go to the next tab. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, but we're going to leave it open because we need to see this information. So I've already copied the key into memory, but what I'm going to do is edit copy here. And I note that we're on channel 4, and then we're WEP, and the ESSID, the ESSID is Belki, B-E-L-K-I. So now we're going to want to do...
so you're going to start arrow dump, right?
Arrow dump. ng-w, don't connect or anything yet.
Okay.
W is for write. We're going to name the file Belki, and then we're going to specify channel 4. BSSID. That's a dash dash, by the way. Don't miss that. Then we're going to do an edit paste for the MAC address. And then mon 0. Okay, so now we're capturing frames. And you see Bali's talking to it because we're seeing frames go over.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually have 2 connections to it. Oh, no, no, let's see.
There should be
Stations.
one, yeah.
No, mine. Mine is also talking to it.
So
I set up
two
my
cell
phone.
phones, yeah.
Yeah, I set up my phone earlier. So let's start hitting it, Bali. Just start reloading the page.
All right.
There is a command that you can specify that will send packets to it automatically if you want to speed it up, but we're only going to need 20,000. So when we get to 20,000 frames collectively, we're good. So we're just reloading this main page.
Yeah, just hitting refresh. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, we're just hitting refresh. Same for me. And we need to get to where we're at 20,000. Actually, let's run it up to 30 just in case.
All right.
Now mine's really short, this password. If you had a really long one, you might have to go up to 100,000, but it's not likely. I've never had to go over 50, no matter how long they are. And I've tested some really long ones, really long keys, 128-bit keys.
So basically the goal here is, like, wherever you see a router which is using WEP, you need to make sure, first of all, upgrade to WPA, right? This is upgrading your hardware, right?
Right.
For companies for whom it's important. And otherwise, the bad guys can definitely come in and crack your password if it is...
well, they don't crack it, okay? Cracking is a specific thing. Mm-hmm. They're going to basically they're going to guess your password.
For WEP?
For WEP, you crack.
Yeah, for WEP.
Yeah, for WEP, you crack. But for WPA, I thought you were talking about WPA.
Oh, no, I was saying
those you look up.
if you have WEP, then you need to upgrade to WPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so look, we've reached 22,000 plus on one of them and 13,000 on the other. So we have about 30,000,
Yeah.
close to it.
All right.
All you
cool.
need is over 20.
Cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and clear. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and wipe. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and stop this. So I'm going to hit Control C again, and I'm going to do an LS. And then you can see the Belkey 01 caps and everything there.
So that's
all
the
of
file
this.
where all the data
This is the stuff we've collected right here.
There
okay.
you go. Mm-hmm.
So let's clear that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and run aircrack. Aircrack NG, and we're going to do XYZ on the capture file. So ours a Belkey, because that's the name we gave it, 01 cap. That's the captured file, the captured data. And then it's running it, it's running it, it's running it. Ooh, it's taking a little while. Failed, so it failed. So we need to try and capture more data. So maybe we didn't get enough off of one connection. So
Maybe,
let's go try it again.
Let's do like one connection with
20,000.
With 20,000, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do that.
Just keep reloading.
Yeah.
Run it up to 30. We were just shy of 30. Maybe we need 30 for this key.
Yeah, it takes like a minute or so, but this kind of gives you a very good
And
test.
again, this simulates real interaction with the router, a real user. We can keep kicking him off or sending packets to it to get those IVs, or what I call initialization vectors. And then the aircrack is going to take advantage of the weak, the flaw in the actual encryption, and we're going to crack it. So it doesn't matter what key, how long, that's irrelevant. What does matter is that we need, for WPA, is that we're going to guess it. We're going to look it up. And that's why you want it long, because the longer it is, the higher the entropy, and the harder it is, the longer it takes for us to guess it. Not harder, it's just longer. Okay, you're at 20,000 frames now. Let me just draw a little thing to illustrate what we're watching here. We're watching that number right there, that 22,000 number.
So guys, it takes like a couple of minutes if you're doing on a single test like this. So
Yeah, it's okay.
so
It's
just be
still
patient.
fast.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's a lot faster than the WPA. The WPA will take you a day to do. But basically, you sit on their network for just a couple of
Very
seconds.
good.
Okay, so we've got 30. We're going to go ahead and stop it. So you sit on their network for a couple of seconds, and then you go home and you work on the password. But with the WEP, you don't even need to do that. So let's go ahead, and we're probably going to be looking at Belkey 2 here. So see, we have a second capture file now, so I'm going to highlight that one. Specifically this one right here. That's the one we're after. So let me clear that, and we're going to say aircrack. And then we're going to do...
And aircrack is part of the Kismet suite, right?
Yeah, I forget which is exactly which, but it all comes in Kali, so you don't need to worry about that. It's all there. So we're going to do 02 cap. And there it is. It found the key.
All right.
So is that the one that we used?
Yep.
Let's see if it matches. 42B86366F96.
It is.
So let me just highlight it.
Super fast. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the key right here. And let me just circle it so you can make it very clear. So it says key found right here. Decrypted correctly 100% right below that, right? So that's it.
All right, cool. And so this key is it like ASCII or is it like just that's what the password was?
That's not, well, it is ASCII because it's a hex number.
Yeah.
So it is a hexadecimal number that you're going to get. For the WEP key, it's a hex number.
All right.
So your WPA2 could be a hex number too, or a word, or whatever. They're alphanumeric characters for WPA2 because it's a passphrase.
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
Also, one thing to know is when you're trying to do something like this, don't try it in your office or home network. Try it in a contained environment because this can lead you in trouble also.
Yeah, you need permission, remember, for network security assessments and penetration testing. You need permission to touch that other person's network. Even if you're overseas these days, you need to have permission. Most people want to help, so you get a lot of people pen testing your stuff, and you'll say, well, okay, I'll take the information you gave me, but You have to be careful. So they may, if something happened and you were pen testing at the same time, you may get blamed for it. So make sure you're taking screen captures and logging all of your data when you're doing real pen testing.
Yeah.
But when you're messing around like this and playing, this is why you don't want to do that, because there could be a real breach going on while you're doing that. And then they discover it because you tripped the alarm, and now all of a sudden they discover the breach. This is common, and now you're in trouble for it. So don't mess around.
All right, that's a key thing to remember. All right, Timber, thank you for walking us through how to crack your web key. And I think so we will have another follow-up blog post where we'll talk about WAP and WAP2 and how to basically use rainbow tables to get
pre-computed hashes. Pre-computed hashes, and we'll guess them with the initialization vector. So we'll go over that, how it works. It's very similar to this, but it takes a lot longer to run. You may have to let it run overnight or for a couple of days. Okay. And you need to download a word list to go along with it, a dictionary.
All right, cool. So, all right, thanks for joining us, guys, and do send us your feedback and any interesting topics you want to listen up in the coming blog posts. All right, see you.